Welcome everyone. My name is Robert Rodriguez. I am one of the Miami trainers, and today we're having a prospecting class using both Remine and a little bit about Rebogateway towards the end of the session. As always, we are recording our session, but you can always find our recorded sessions already inside of two places. You have the Miami Realtors Live logo right here inside of your Miami dashboard. This is where you can find all of our video recordings like Remine, or if you're looking for matrix classes or RPR classes, you can always go into Miami Realtors Live. Another source for you to watch videos are going to be our YouTube channel. And if you guys go to youtube.com/Miami Trainers, you'll find our Miami Trainers YouTube channel where we have over 200 videos recorded for you both in English and in Spanish for you to learn how to use our services. We're happy to have you here today. If you have any questions during our webinar, I welcome you to chat and type up your questions in the chat feature. Normally, I'll see the little chat jump up on my screen, and I will answer to you directly. I will see it and I will respond. All right. So Remine is one of the premium services that you get through Miami Association Realtors. It's at no additional cost. In April, Remine, we went ahead and upgraded everyone to what they call Remine Pro, and you get all the professional features that Remine used to charge for. Everyone now gets them for free. So it's included with your membership. It's right here. It's this light blue screen right here, this logo, and it says Remine. You go ahead and you click on that, and that's going to give you access to Remine. Once inside of Remine, you're going to land right inside of your daily dashboard. This is like your homepage in Remine, and basically what you guys want to do is you want to make sure that on the lower left corner, you find your name. And when you find your name, you want to make sure that you are upgraded to Remine Pro. Notice how mine says Robert Rodriguez, and then it says Pro. If anyone has another level of membership here in Remine, please contact the Miami Association of Realtors because you are all supposed to be reflecting the Remine Pro inside of your program. Now, we use Remine for lots of things. We use Remine for MLS use. We use Remine for CMAs. We use Remine for live presentations of our properties. And then, of course, we use Remine for our data. And the data is really what we're going to focus on today because it is a prospecting class. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to get started. All right, so here we are. We're inside of Remine, and I'm going to start by going to the upper left corner, and we're going to click on search. All right, so once we click on search, Remine always goes back to the last place you were searching. And the last place I was searching was in Lehigh Acres in Southwest Florida. So I'm going to remove this filter over here, and I'm going to remove the active filter of the MLS. And you know, it's a map-based program, so you guys can always zoom out, and you can go to South Florida, you can go to Central Florida, anywhere in Florida if you like to search. And you have the plus and the minus sign right here on the upper right corner of your map. Okay, so now on the very top, you have a search bar that says address, city, zip code, and neighborhood. So let's say I want to start farming a zip code in South Florida. Let's go with zip code 33146, which is a zip code in Coral Gables. And I'm going to select it, and this is going to take me right to that zip code in 33146. Now, you guys are going to notice that there are a lot of properties in this zip code, 4,666 properties. You got filters on the left-hand side, and then you also have filters at the very top left where it says add filters. One of the filters you want to right away pay attention to is the building type filter, because if you're looking for single family homes, you're going to select single family, and then you're going to hit apply, and all the condos will be removed, all the townhomes will be removed, and you're going to be left with only single family homes. Currently now looking at 3,272 single family homes. The important part about picking your farming or prospecting area is to pick a small area. Right now, that's 3,200 properties that if you want to dominate zip code 33146, you are going to be spending a lot of money in your prospecting and your marketing. So you want to make sure that you pick a smaller area. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I want to pick this area right here, just east of Red Road and just south of Bird Road. Okay, so this area right here, and what I'm going to do is there is a polygon that I can draw, there's a rectangular shape that I can draw, and there's a circle or radius that I can draw. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the rectangular shape, and right over this area right here, I'm going to draw a rectangular shape like this, and we're going to release it. And it's going to tell us that now you have 422 properties in there. I can remove the zip code 33146 filter, which is up here, because we no longer need it. We're going to concentrate in this area alone, which is 422 homes. All right, if you wanted to remove that rectangular shape, you have the filter up here and you can go ahead and remove it. And now you're looking at, all kinds of properties in the area. And let me go ahead and draw it again. And you're going to see just how easy it is to draw. Let's say I want to stretch it out all the way over here. Okay. Now we're looking at 955 properties. So I'm going to zoom in. All right. I'm going to zoom in and basically focus on one area of the map right here. And it's 707 or 807 properties. And if you zoom in even more, you're not going to look at little blue houses that represent the homes in that particular area. So you're going to see the little blue dots, and those blue dots are going to be the homes in those particular area. Okay. It's always going to show you the results on the upper right corner in your immediate map viewing area. So there are more results in this rectangular shape. However, if you zoom in, you're only going to see the amount of results in that map viewing area. So taking a look at the very first filters on the upper left corner, you have your MLS filters. This allows you to look for residential or commercial properties. You can look at status. You can look at listing type. You can look at list price, list date, bedrooms and bathrooms, and you have additional filters always on the upper right corner by selecting advanced. The only reason I want to use the MLS right now in today's exercise is to look at the expired listings. So let's go ahead and click on status, and we're going to select expired right here. And right away, you're going to see expired listings show up in your map viewing area. You are going to see some rentals because I haven't specified what kind of transaction we're looking for. So this is a rental expired at $4,000, and that's a $5,000 rental expired. And here's a for sale expired at $850,000 and one at $2 million. So your results are over here on the right-hand side. And what you can always do is click on one to see information about the property. So let's go ahead and select. And we're going to look at the expired information for this property. As a reminder, every Miami member has Remine Pro. That means that all the pro features are now included with your membership. So there's no need to pay for any additional services in Remine. Remine Pro is now included for every single Miami member. All right, so here we are. We're looking at an expired listing. It was listed at $850,000. You notice that right underneath it says that the estimated equity on the property is $677,000. You get to see that the property has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,860 square feet. And you look at the property address and who owns the property right underneath. You got all the listing details and who listed the property. You got the key stats on the property. You also have valuation on the property. So let's go ahead and click on valuation and see exactly how the value is determined. You're going to notice 3 different valuations here. You got one from First American, then you have another one from Black Knight, and then you have one from Redfin. So the valuation on the property is, we're going to use the $809,000 valuation, which is the First American valuation. Okay. You got By the way, First American is like your MLS. It's a nationwide company that runs MLSs like CoreLogic. So it's the most trustworthy valuation you can get out there in the market. Then you're going to click on public records to find out more information on the property. So who owns the property and are they an absentee owner? So in this case, you're looking at absentee owner, yes, and they're providing you the mailing address on the property. So you know right away that the owners do not live at this property. Okay. And you got recent tax information. So in 2019, the tax amount was $9,335. You see that there is an active mortgage taken out on the property of $207,500. It's a 30-year mortgage at a 5.5% interest rate. Their monthly estimated payments are $1,181. And you're going to notice right here a little section that says net equity. So what the net equity does is that it takes the valuation on the property of $809,000 minus the estimated loan balance, which is right now standing at $132,000, and it gives you a net equity of $677,306. That's a net equity of 84%. Now, they're not 100% certain that 132 is the balance on the loan. They're just estimating how long ago they took out this loan, and the interest rate, what is the amortization schedule, and how many payments have been made towards the principal balance, and they just come up with an estimated loan balance. I invite you guys to look at your own homes and see if it's accurate. In lots of cases, it is very accurate. So I'm happy to report that, we really haven't found many discrepancies on the information that we get through Remine. All right. You got school information, demographic, property history, and then one of the most important features of your Remine Pro is going to be the contact information. All right, so taking a look at the contact information, you're going to click on associated people, and the owner of the property is Ruben Mastrapa. Right here, you have Ruben Mastrapa with the phone number. Then you also have Miriam Mastrapa with the phone number. And notice there is a do not call symbol next to the phone number. So it is scrubbed against the do not call list. If the property phone number is on the do not call list, please do not contact the number. You're really at your own risk if you are going to contact this phone number. Remine will give you public lines and also cell phone numbers if found. So if Remine finds contact information for the owners, they will give it to you, absolutely include it with your membership. And also if Remine finds any email addresses on record for the owners, then they're also going to provide you their email addresses. In this case, it's the same number, and it looks like it's husband and wife, and basically that looks like a landline, and it is on the do not call list. All right, you're gonna go back up here, and if you wanted to add this property to your cart, you'll have a cart right here on the left-hand side, which is basically bookmarking the property and adding to your cart. If you want to share the property with a client or with anyone via email, you can click on share, and this allows you to share the property, recipient email, type up a little message, and then hit send. If you want to print the property or if you want to run a CMA on the property, you click on CMA and you can run a comp analysis on the property. The comp analysis through Remine is very accurate and looks nice. It's nicer than some other CMAs out there. And you can always find more information on how to run CMAs on Remine by taking our Remine Pro webinar. Today is prospecting and farming, so we're not going to get into a lot of the other features Remine provides. We're only going to use Remine for prospecting. All right, so add to your cart, share, print, CMA. Let's go ahead and close this property out, and we're back over here on the map looking at the expired listings. Let's say you wanted to send all 5 properties that are expired into your cart. All you need to do is on the right-hand side where your results are, you're going to select all, and then you're going to go ahead and click on cart on the upper right corner, and you're going to call this expired 33146. So expired 33146, and then we're going to create the cart, and then we're going to add 5 properties to this cart, and we've just added the 5 expireds to the cart. You're going to find the cart on the left-hand side, and you're going to notice that you have daily, you have search, you have saved searches, and you also have cart. Okay, so we're going to click on carts, and we're going to notice that there's a cart right here called expired 33146 with 5 properties. Once your cart is ready, you can always select every result in the cart. You can export into a CSV file. You can give it a name. You're going to have everything exported into the CSV file, including the contact information of the properties, of the property owners, equity on the property, whether it's an absentee owner or not. Everything you want to know about this property will be exported into a CSV file. So I'm going to call this 33146, and then I'm going to export this right here. We're going to include all the columns, and then we're going to click on export. You don't have to include all the columns. If you don't select include all columns, let me hit this again, export. If you don't select to include all the columns, then you must select which columns you want to export. All right. In this case, I went ahead and I exported all the columns. You can also send mailers by clicking on mailers or send mailers, and you're going to give this a name, and it's going to open a third-party vendor called Rocket Print and Mail. And we're going to go ahead and continue into Rocket Print and Mail, and you can look through the different postcards available to you and at what cost will they be delivered to the property address. So you can look through 4¼ by 6" postcards, 6 by 8.5" postcards, you got 6 by 11" postcards, you got letters, and you know, other things. And then you're going to go to choose design, you're going to build your design, and then finish up your mailers. Again, that's through Remine, and it's powered by Rocket Print and Mail. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And then if you wanted to do labels, you can always click on more right here, and you got print mailing labels. So when you select print mailing labels, who are you after? Are you after the property owner or the current resident? So that's important to know. If you are after the owner, you must select property owner. If you're after the property owner, you're also going to select the mailing address, because you want to reach the property owner where their mailing address is sent to. If you are going to go after the current resident, then I always tell you to go to the property address. All right, and then you select your label type, and then you print your labels. As a reminder, you guys can print labels with RPR. You can print labels with IMAP, with Realist, and with Remine. So we give you many, many different opportunities to print labels with those 4 programs I just mentioned. All right, so this is our carts, and if you ever wanted to delete a cart, you can always go to the very top where the name of the cart is. There's a little arrow facing down, and you can hit delete cart, and then you need to type in the word delete, and then you're going to confirm the deletion, and it is going to delete your cart. Your alerts on the lower left corner currently has 1 notification. That basically is a notification that the download is ready, and that's your notification to go ahead and download the spreadsheet. So once the spreadsheet is ready, you'll see that I do have a CSV file in here, and that is, you know, what I just downloaded. Okay. All right, I don't think that you guys see the screen, and let me just share the spreadsheet so you can see it real quick. All right, so here's my spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet will contain everything that you want: mailing address, property address, and then let's look for the contact phone numbers. Is somewhere in here. This is the problem when you include all the columns, that there is a lot of information, including equity on a property, mortgages on a property, and so much more. So you have to look through these columns and find the contact information because it is in here. There's your property address, okay? So I'm gonna close this spreadsheet out and let's go back into here. And I'm going to resume share of Remine. All right, let me get back into Remine. Okay, so here we are back in Remine, and basically if you want to go back to the search on the left, you're going to click on search, and that takes you away from carts, and now you're back at the search. You're going to notice that you're still here in this area, so you want to zoom in, and you want to find that area that you were focusing on, okay, because we're going to continue now to do some farming exercises. So there is a filter for expired that we were using, and you're going to remove it, and that now will fill in all the properties in the area, which is currently 955. I saw a question come across our chat board, and it was asking me if nationwide searches or searching out of this area is allowed, and yes. If you look up here next to the search bar, there is a nationwide search option, which you will place a check right here. If you wanted to search, let's say in Orange County in Central Florida, or if you wanted to search in Georgia or in New York, anywhere nationwide, you're able to run some prospecting exercises. So you do have the ability to run a nationwide search. All right, so we have 955 properties. Now let's go ahead and concentrate on the filters you have on the left. The very first filter is called property value. So that's gonna open up some options here, 0 to $250,000, 250 to 500, or you can go with $1 million plus. So let's say I wanted to find out which homes here are worth more than $1 million. I'm gonna select $1 million plus, hit apply, and 955 results are cut to 459 results. So if my market is $1 million plus, then right away I know where my $1 million plus properties are, and they're right here. You can go more. You can go ahead and not use the $1 million plus. You can use 2 million. So right here as a minimum, I can put in $2 million and no max, hit apply, and that's gonna cut my results to only 79 properties. All right, and if I zoom out and I'm looking at the entire map, it's 81 properties worth over $2 million in this area. Okay, now we can combine this filter right here, property value, with the home equity value. So once again, I'm gonna open up home equity and I'm gonna say, show me people that have at least $2 million in equity in their property. So we're gonna put a minimum of $2 million, and then we have 37 homeowners who have at least $2 million in equity. All right, so this is important, and of course the reason why we're able to find this information out is because we know whether they have a mortgage or not and what would be their balance on that mortgage. So looking at a property like this worth $2.1 million or almost 2.2, it says that the estimated net equity is about $2 million. If I click on this property, you're going to notice that the loan balance is probably zero or very little, very small loan balance. So let's take a look here. If I scroll down, you're going to notice that there is no mortgage on the property. And it says that the value of the property is $2,187,000, and then the net equity is also $2,187,000, giving them 100% equity on their property. If I click on associated people, it's going to show me over here that Rafael and Maria are the owners. However, there is no contact information for these owners. So having to contact them, you're going to have to find it in another way, because Remine does not have contact information for them. All right, so let me go ahead and go back to the Remine map. And once again, if you zoom in, all right, so let me zoom in close enough where I'm starting to see little blue dots. If I click on a blue dot like this, the very first property that shows up on the right-hand side is the property I just clicked on. So notice how it changes. I'm going to click on this one. Notice how it changes. So that's a different property with a different owner, of course, and a different, equity on their property. And hopefully we can get some contact information for this owner. So this is a $3 million home, and they have 100% equity at $3 million. And once again, I'm going to go all the way down to associated people and show you that we do have information on the owners. So here is the owner, Richard, all right, Critchclough or Claw. And you'll notice that Richard does have several phone numbers, including an email address. And then you have another person with the same last name over here with some phone numbers as well. And you'll notice that that other person is probably Richard's wife, because you notice right here, the owner is Richard and Deidre. All right. And they've been at the property for 8.9 years, and they own the property without any mortgage balance. Okay, so maybe someone you would like to communicate with. And once again, it's that easy, folks. Just concentrate on the property that you like to find out more information. And if you just want to download everyone at once, you select all, and then you hit carts and you repeat the process that we did earlier. All right, I'm going to zoom out on this map real quick, and I'm going to remove the home equity on the property, and I'm going to remove the property values on the property as well. And then you also have on the left-hand side one very interesting filter called ownership time. And let's say you wanted to focus on people that have been at their property between 5 and 10 years. So you're going to select 5 and 10 years, or better yet, let's say you wanted to do 7 to 10 years. So as a minimum, you're going to go 7, and as a max, you're going to go 10. And then you're going to hit apply. 770 becomes 99. So those are 99 homeowners in this area. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. And it's actually 122. That's 122 homeowners in this area that have been at their property between 7 and 10 years. It is important because in South Florida, that pretty much is your average turnover. The expected turnover time for an owner wanting to resell their home is in between 7 and 10 years. So if you wanted to focus on that, you have that filter that allows you to focus on ownership time. If you let me go ahead and close it up here, and I want to open it again. If I open this again and I go 20 plus years, let's see how many people have been at their home 20 plus years, and I have 167 homeowners who've been there 20 plus years. I can close that filter out, and I can go to ownership time again, and let's see if anyone's been there more than 40 years. All right, so 40 as a minimum, hit apply, and I have 54 homeowners that have been at their property over 40 years. So pretty much a very good target. If they've been there 40 years, they're empty nesters for sure. And perhaps they are all wanting to sell. I want you guys to see what this little indication here means, medium and low. You have something on the left called sales score, and sales score is divided between 3 categories: low, medium, and high. Anyone with a median or high sales score is a good target for wanting to list their properties for one of many different reasons, including ownership time. So if you have a low sales score, it's the least likely they would like to want to sell. But if you see a medium or a high sales score, those are the higher possibilities of wanting to sell their property for many different reasons. Not just ownership time, but maybe it's they're in debt, like their property is underwater, or maybe they're in foreclosure, or maybe they're investors. So that's what a sales score means, and that's what these little indications are. But right now we did ownership time 40 plus years, and then we can combine that with mortgage age and say has no mortgage. Let's find out how many people in this area do not have a mortgage that have been at their property for 40 years. So all 54 results previously When I did the ownership time 40 plus, it was 54 results. All 54 owners do not have a mortgage on their property. All right, so everyone here owns their property free and clear. If I remove the ownership time 40 plus years and I just go with has no mortgage, I got 378 properties in this rectangular shape of homeowners who do not have a mortgage on their property. All right, so that's quite a few people that have 100% equity on their property in this rectangular shape. If I remove that and I go back to mortgage age and I do 0 to 5 years and I hit apply, then the results are 307 homeowners that took out a mortgage in the last 5 years. And then you can always combine that with, let's say, mortgage rate higher than 6%. Mortgage rate higher than 6% in the last 5 years, you should have very little people because interest rates have been very, very good in the last 5 years. So we have 6 people that took out a mortgage at a higher than 6% interest rate in this rectangular shape. If I remove the mortgage 0 to 5 years and I leave the 6+ interest rate, there are 89 homeowners currently paying more than 6% interest rate on their loan. If I remove that filter and I go back to mortgage rate, let's see who's paying 9% or more. You think that that's a possibility? One person. One person is paying 9% or more on their mortgage. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what type of loan this is. So if you take a look, they took out a $370,000 loan in March of 2019. The loan term is only 2 years. Wow. And it's a 9% interest rate. So this is probably a construction loan or a HUD money loan. And they're paying $15,431 payments towards the loan. So definitely that is a short-term loan at a 9% interest rate. Okay, so I figured that out by doing the higher than 9% mortgage rate in the area. Another thing that you can find out in this area are going to be distressed deals. So on the left-hand side, you're going to look for distressed deals. And when you select list pendants and I hit apply, any list pendants within the last 6 months that show up, all right, are gonna, they're gonna give it to you. So right here, there is a property currently for sale at $4,350,000, and there is a foreclosure attached to the property. Okay, it's a list pendant, so it's a lien. There's a lien, a foreclosure lien on the property. If I switch over to notice of default, then I hit apply, and there are currently no notices of default. I can go and I can switch over to notice of foreclosure sale, and then there are none in this area. And then one more, let's go with trustee sale, notice of trustee sale, and there's none. And pretty clean area right there, free and clear foreclosures. If I was to remove the polygon or the rectangular shape and I study the entire area, of course you're going to get more information or more properties that have some kind of foreclosure findings on them. If you're looking for investors, you can use the absentee owner filter, which is on the left-hand side, and then you can figure out which are corporate owned properties. So when I hit apply for corporate owned, you're going to see that 136 properties are owned by trust accounts or LLCs or Incs or Corps. These are corporate owned absentee owners. If I open up absentee owners and I do absentee in the state of Florida, those are absentee owners that reside in Florida. If I remove that and I go absentee owner who reside outside of Florida, I hit apply, and we have 11 owners who don't even live in Florida. And then when you select owner occupied or owner occupant, those are the properties that the owners actually live at their property. So this is a very residential neighborhood here in Coral Gables, and most of the owners actually live in their property. Let's say, for example, I was looking somewhere in Brickell or in Miami Beach where there's a high rate of investment properties. You will see a lot more absentee owner properties than owner occupied properties. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that filter. All right. A few other things that I want to show you before we go. There is an Airbnb symbol right here, and that's going to show you any Airbnb listings in the area. And if you hover over one of these properties and you click on the Airbnb listing, it lets you go right to that listing by clicking on the link, and it's going to open up a new window giving you information on that Airbnb listing. Why would you want to know this? These are investors for sure. They're renting out, a piece of their property or maybe their entire property. Otherwise, I pretty much don't know why you would want to know this when you're prospecting as a realtor. So that's one. And then the last filter I would like to show you down here is cash buyers. All the green symbols that are going to show up once you zoom in, all those green symbols are cash buyers in that particular area. So let me zoom in and let me unclick it and select it again because it's taking a while. There you go. Those are all properties purchased in cash, okay? Those are all properties purchased in cash, and one little exercise I love to do is go cash buyers and then do mortgage age 0 to 5 years. So let's see who had to take out a loan in the last 5 years. Notice how some of the green symbols disappeared and the green symbols that remained with a blue dot, that means this person originally purchased in cash, but they had to take out a loan because there's a blue dot now next to them. That means they had to take out a loan on their property. So interesting way to look at things if you like to campaign for people who are dipping into the equity of their property for whatever reason. Maybe they're looking to invest in another property. Maybe they're renovating their own home. So, basically my idea of showing you in Remine is to show you how to use Remine to prospect. So that means that you need to go and you need to start figuring out ways to find sellers inside of your neighborhood. Okay. Let me go ahead and remove that rectangular shape that we've been looking at this entire time. And then I'm going to zoom out to the point where I'm looking at a very large section of South Florida right there. You can always use a zip code, a city, a neighborhood, or even a school. So let's say I wanted to search by Coral Gables, all right, senior high school. There you go, Coral Gables Senior High School. That's gonna place a big area right here, and any property in this area is assigned to Coral Gables Senior High School, and that's over 20,000 properties. Now you can always look at properties for sale by selecting status and then selecting active. And now you're gonna see that there are 697 properties for sale with, Coral Gables High School being their assigned high school. And it's basically all of Key Biscayne, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, and one small section of Miami just north of Coral Gables, right along Lejeune Road, which is 42nd Avenue. That would be your Coral Gables Senior High School zone. And then of course you can do expires in this area, or you can use all the filters that we have on the left-hand side. And let's remove that, and let's remove Coral Gables, and let's remove building type of single family home. And I'll leave you with this. You can always do this in any area, including an area where there's a lot of buildings. So I'm gonna use my map and I'm gonna zoom in right over Brickell Key, which is a small triangle island here just east of Brickell Avenue. And I'm going to draw a polygon like this. And then I'm going to finish my polygon just like that. And right there, there are 2,978 properties. You're going to go to building type, and we're going to look for condo. I'm going to hit apply. And we're down to 2,877. And the same thing that we've been doing with the homes, you can use these filters to look at absentee ownership, corporate owned, absentee in state of Florida, absentee outside of the state of Florida, and hit apply. So out of the 2,800 properties in the area, 1,591 are absentee owner properties. So these are definitely investors investing in condo and Brickell Key. If I flip that around, if I go back to absentee owner and I remove corporate, in-state, out-of-state, and I would just go with owner occupant and I hit apply, then of course we have a smaller number of 1,286 owner occupant properties. All right, so use the filters to look at condos, whether you're looking in South Beach or Sunny Isles or even Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, anywhere in your prospecting area. Okay. What I'd like to do now is basically focus on another part of our class, which is Rebogateway. If you want more information on Remine, please look for a Remine Pro webinar, which we teach you how to save searches, how to engage with your customers, how to add contacts, and even how to access the electronic signature from Remine, which is all included with your Remine Pro webinar. Let me now go to the Miami dashboard once again and locate the Rebogateway, which is another program we have for prospecting, and it's right here. And it's called Rebogateway. And Miami members, you do have access to a limited version of Rebogateway. Here it is. Everyone will click on the red login on the upper right corner of your screen. And if this is your first time using Rebogateway, you're going to look for a current member of the MLS. And then you're going to click here to get your MLS benefit. They're going to ask you for your email address, and you will be emailed a temporary password. For now, I am going to just log in because I already have an account with Rebogateway. So I'm going to log in and show you folks exactly how to use Rebogateway. All right, so Rebogateway, again, is another prospecting tool. Everyone in Miami has access to the tracked utility, but what makes, for free, what makes Rebogateway really interesting is the Leads and Farms. Leads and Farms is available for a monthly subscription of $45. You don't have to sign a year's contract. You can pay by month and use it for 1 month and then cancel if you'd like. And the reason why it makes it so interesting is because this right here. Notice this drop down right here. You guys can go and look for affidavit death. So when there's a death, a homeowner death, and you can go and see who the beneficiary is on the property, and you can try and contact the beneficiary. If there's bankruptcy filed in the court, you can also, have a heads up on bankruptcy. You can get a heads up on divorce cases. So when homeowners file for divorce, you will find out the results on that too. Any empty nesters, when the kids have left their home and the homeowners stay home alone, you can find that out too. I don't put too much trust in for sale by owners because we have lots of, off the MLS activity going on. And when you call, it's actually a realtor behind it, which should not be. But anyways, that's what I've been finding a lot in FSBOs, that, when you call the number, it's actually a realtor and not the homeowner. But, you can always look through this and maybe you find a for sale by owner. You have notice of list pendants, you got peak purchases, you got probate cases and tax defaults. So one example on the free and one example on the paid version. The free version, the one that everyone gets, is called a tracked utility. And let me go south here to like Kendall area. We're gonna click on boundary search. Notice you got county search. radius search, and boundary search. And I'm gonna go south. Actually, let me go north. I live in Miami Lakes, so let's go north. All right, let's go north and let's go just north of Miami Lakes. There's an area called Palm Springs North, and there's some really nice lakes here in this area. And I'm gonna do this. You always start and end your shape, and you'll notice a shaded um, rectangular shape here. If I want to start all over, there is the option to clear my polygon at the bottom and basically start all over like this. And then you finish your shape right here, and you're gonna click on Find Tract. I will select single family home and hit submit. And what we're going to get are tracked utilities. These are not subdivisions. These are the mail carrier routes. So whenever the postman goes, they have a route that they visit, and that's what the tracked utility is. And right here, we have our tracts, or like our little communities, and they're sorted by highest turnover. So the highest turnover in that area is coming in at almost 12% turnover. That's 17 units sold. They sold 2 properties in the last year at $245,000 average. Then there's one here coming in at 10% turnover, which is 30 units, and you had 3 sales at an average of $615,000, and there's 2 active listings. Let me see if I want to sort by number of units. So right here, we're looking at a community with 300 homes, 327 homes, and they had 7 sales in the last year at an average price of $407,000. Let me see this one here, 163 homes coming in at just under 5% turnover. That's 8 sales. So if I click on this one, this is what we have. We have all the homeowners with the ability to export the farm by clicking on Export Farm. That's going to create a spreadsheet with the information on all the homeowners. So Rebogateway is going to let you pick out the correct farming area for you based on average price, based on turnover, and then also based on NOO, which is non-owner occupied. So the percentage of non-owner occupied in this area is only 10.5%. So if I click on investors here on the left, I'm only going to be left with the non-owner occupied properties, which equals 17 properties. And I can export these 17 investors into a spreadsheet. If I wanted to look for next sellers, let's go ahead and click on next sellers and let's talk about what that is. So if the years owned average is slightly under 11 years, when you select next sellers, it's obviously going to give you properties purchased between 10 and 11 years ago. So here we have a property purchased in 2010, another one in 2010, 09, 2010, 09. So these are 5 properties purchased 10 to 11 years ago, and that's exactly what the average says, 10.93 years for average owns. So these would be the next sellers based on the average of this area that's 60 years old. So this area right there, the median year of construction is 1960, so that's 60 years. So using Rebogateway, we're going to become masters of identifying our prospecting area, and you're always going to go to boundary search. And then also remember that if you wanted to do Broward County, you need to go to the upper left corner, select Broward, and now we're looking at Broward, and then you can do boundary search. And let's say I wanted to do a section in Weston. All right, so here we have Weston. And I'm going to do Weston Hills. All right, I'm going to do this. And that would be the area there in Weston Hills. And I find tract. And then I hit single family, submit. And there you go. All right, you have all your properties in Weston Hills, or all of the subdivision tracts in Weston Hills. Okay. Let me go back to leads and farms, and let me close this out by letting you know that, yeah, this information it comes in handy. So if I click on divorce cases, and we're gonna go switch off to Miami-Dade County, and then we're gonna select city. Keep in mind that the courts have been closed for a few months now. So maybe we don't get many divorce cases. So I'm gonna attempt to show you how this works by selecting divorce, Miami-Dade, City of Miami, and then let's go back to January of this year through today's date and then search. And these are homeowners. So there are 74 homeowners in the City of Miami that had filed for divorce. If I click on one, you'll see right here, lead history, that this is a dissolution of marriage. Plaintiff is Alberto Moreno, and the defendant would be Aldo. So you have Aldo and Alberto. All right. The case was filed 2020 and filed January 22nd of 2020. Okay. And let me go ahead and close this out, and let's pick on somebody else. And you'll see right here that you have, all right, plaintiff Noria, and Noria is filing a divorce on Robert. Okay, dissolution of marriage. In most cases, you're not really going to find phone numbers when you go to contact information. If you do find a phone number, then feel free to go ahead and call them. Lots of phone numbers are either private or non-existent because these are landlines. Remine's not going to give, or Rebogateway will not give you cell phone numbers. They will only give you landlines. All right. So you got divorce cases, you got deaths, and then you also have probate cases. It's going to tell you who the responsible party is in the probate case. And then you have tax defaults. Pretty much that's how you're going to use Rebogateway. We do have Rebogateway videos loaded into our Miami Realtors Live uh, section here inside of the Miami Gateway if you want to know more about Rebogateway. And then of course, if you want to know more about Remine and how to use all the pro features, sign up for a Remine Pro class. Today was just an overview on how to use Remine and Rebogateway for prospecting. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me some questions. We are wrapping up our webinar right now. I want to thank everyone for attending today's course. And as always, thank you for being Miami members. And remember to reach out to the Miami trainers at remember to reach out to the Miami trainers at trainers@miamire.com. That's trainers@miamire.com. Or you can reach me directly at robertr@miamire.com. All right. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm also doing this class in Spanish. Yes, I am. I'm doing the class in Spanish at 2:30. So I have a question here. If I'm doing this in Spanish, I'm actually doing it a little later today at 2:30. Sharon, the Leiden Farm area, you're going to have to pay for the upgrade, which is $45 a month. Inside of Rebogateway, you're going to go to your account, and then you're going to have to pay for the upgrade in order to get access to Leiden Farms. I am going to be editing our video possibly tomorrow morning and loading by mid-afternoon tomorrow into our YouTube channel and inside of Miami Realtors Live. So you have to give me some time to edit both videos that I'm recording today, and I look forward to uploading this into our website tomorrow. So there's an interesting question here on best ways to find the community. I would actually look through Remine and try and focus on a community you really like and see which one has turnover, which one has, owners that have equity in their property. And then most importantly, make sure that there is no restrictions on solicitation. So make sure that it's not a gated community or a community that says no soliciting, and then you want to go door knocking. Also, make sure that you never touch people's mailboxes. So if you're going to be leaving some information, do not touch people's mailboxes. That's a federal offense. If you want to do door hangers, that's fine. If you want to do mail outs, that's fine, but never touch people's mailboxes. Rebogateway, I guess, is also another really good way to do your turnover rates. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up. Again, thank you for sticking around. And as always, thank you for being Miami members, and we'll see you in our next class.